Well, basically, Joy to the Streets was born out of a vision that I had 3 years ago. I'd just been singing at St Paul's Onslow Square in the choir, and I was walking back to the tube station, and there was a guy standing in the tube station, clicking his fingers just by himself, singing, "Give your life to Jesus today. He loves you," with this huge smile on his face. And just the first thing I became aware of was that really pleased God and that he wanted more of it. And then he started to speak, and he said, the first thing he said was, bring joy to the streets on every street corner. And then I started seeing stuff, and I saw this one day, I saw an aerial shot of London from above, and the church, the choirs of the churches of London coming out of the buildings, and at the same time on the same day singing and just claiming every street in London for Jesus. And then I saw Trafalgar Square filled with thousands of people, and what I saw was the hand of God coming down on them and pouring out this gift of joy. And he basically started to speak about having this free gift that he wants to pour out to a hurting nation. And he gave me the word a cappella, and he said, I've given you everything that you need in your own bodies to worship me at no cost. So that's really what the heart of Joy to the Streets is about. And the joy of the Lord, when you see someone worshipping and filled with the joy of the Lord, it's a really powerful witness, because I mean, that person, all the kind of theology and the philosophy and why is there suffering in the world and all that stuff kind of goes out the window. That person's got something, or they don't. And then I saw the Olympic Stadium surrounded by thousands of people, surrounded, like singing like Jericho, and the walls coming down, which is not literal.
Not literal, spiritual meaning.
So I knew it was for the Olympics, so that's why I'm back in the country.
So I work for a big London church, central London church, and I work with students specifically. And you might remember back in 2010 there were all the student riots about the tuition fees and the protests and that kind of stuff happening, especially around Westminster, when they were kind of trashing Parliament Square and that kind of thing. And I was just one day just praying, having I don't do it all the time, but I was having a time of prayer for the ministry and for the students, and just saying, God, do something new, you know, just come and shake us up. Would you wake up students in London? Would you do something amongst our community? Would you do something in the church, not just in London, but around the UK? And I was sort of praying for student stuff. I was praying for God to do something new in his church. And in my mind's eye, I had just the briefest of pictures. I saw the Houses of Parliament at night when they're lit up and they're all like orange, you know, with that light that you see on them. And I saw the Houses of Parliament lit up, and people gathered outside the gates on the pavements. People gathered there holding candles, praying, just a bunch of people. And it was a very brief picture, but I knew it was a prayer vigil for Parliament and for our leaders and nation. And I just opened my eyes, came out of that time of prayer, and a friend of mine was with me, and I just shared the idea with him. I was just like, wouldn't it be cool if actually, you know, a bunch of students got together to pray for our government, to pray for our leaders, and not just protest, and not just say what they're against, but actually say, we're for you, we're behind you, we're praying for you. You know, even if we don't agree with your policies, we are for you and we're for this nation. And I shared that vision, and I started getting a bit excited about it, thinking this could be so simple, it could be so easy, it really could be something. And that was back in November 2010. Mulled it over Christmas, then shared with some other church leaders and student workers straight after the new year, and they said we'd do that. If you made that event happen, we would come and join you. So long story short, organised this flash mob event. It was called Parliament Square Prayer, and it was called 714, after 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, will forgive their sin, and will heal their land. It's a classic prayer scripture, and it's 2 Chronicles 7:14. So basically pinched the numbers 7:14, called the event 7:14 Parliament Square Prayer, put it out on Facebook, put it out over email, and 3.5 weeks before the actual event in March, and this thing just kind of took off. You know, It went viral. Thousands of people were getting invited on Facebook. Groups were getting set up to pray for it, to intercede for the day itself. And people from around the UK were hearing about it and wanting to come down for it. And on the day itself, Tuesday, the March 15th came, and the hour came, and suddenly all these people, hundreds of people, started appearing and gathering on the pavements, gathering on the island, in front of the protesters, in front of the green, which was fenced off at that point. And we had about 1,500 people who came together with glow sticks, with candles, with lights of all kinds, just to come, just to be present, and just to pray for our nation. It's the economic crisis, the Japan earthquakes had just happened, and they were just there, and we worshipped. There was no set agenda. We worshipped, we prayed, we united, we were visible. And my heart with the whole thing had been, that we would pray, and that we'd see God move and answer our prayers. But also, I'm an evangelist, I was passionate that the church would be seen, that the church would be visible, that the church would rise up and be in the marketplace, and that the gospel could be heard, and that the church would just make some ripples in London and in the nation again. And that's really my heart with 714, is to, we had that one event and it went well, and a couple of other cities held it, and we felt this could be something, other cities can easily run these and host them for their own cities, for their own countries. And just to hold public prayer events, there was loads of worship in Parliament Square, so the worship thing is something, a value that's really shared, but it's just the heart for the church to get outside its four walls and to organise public prayer. So we're not only praying, but we're being seen to be praying. We're being seen to be engaged with culture, with society, to care. I mean, people think the church is dead. And 714 is about organising events that show the church is alive and kicking, it's well, and it cares and loves its city and nation, wherever it is. So we had that event, then we had an event on December the 1st, and we called for a simultaneous day of 714 prayer events, and this thing again kicked off, and 56 cities in 12 different countries heard the call, organised 714 events off their own bat, sharing the same values, just to be public, just to be present. No stage, no microphones, no big speakers, just come, be there, pray, get on our knees publicly, worship together, be seen and be heard. And that was in December. And then this year, ahead of the Games, we called for towns and cities around the UK particularly to host 714 events the evening before the torch arrives in their locations. And we wanted to see the torch as sort of like a symbol of God's fire going around the UK again, just reigniting and reviving communities, reviving churches, for the church to unite and welcome the Olympics to London. So there's been a wave of 714 prayer events going around the UK. There will have been by the time we've finished, about 45 in all, 45 different towns and cities. And some of them have been small, some of them have been big, but the heart has been the same, wanting God's healing for the nation, wanting revival in our communities, wanting the church to be united and to be visibly seen, to be that light and that salt, that city on a hill that Jesus spoke of. So that's my passion with 714, and the event that's going to be happening on July the 14th is the culmination of that prayer wave going around the UK, and 714 events coming down. It's going to be the London events, and that's something that Susanna and I are working on together, called A New Thing, and that's really the heart of it. That's the heart of 714, and it's just exciting to be part of it. I don't know how long it will last. It could be a short thing, but the world is on the streets right now, so my thinking, my attitude is that's where the church should be too.
Yeah, and I think you touched on the thing about the church being unveiled. I think that's where the kind of the heart of the visions are the same, is that I think that the church in London is London's best kept secret. We all have this great time, we love the Lord, God is moving in this nation at the moment, and we need to be unveiled, and we need to show London what he's doing. And I think praying about what God is doing at the moment through what we're doing, what other organisations and groups are doing actually around the same time, we really feel that there is an increase at the moment, and that God is on the move, that revival is coming. But as I've been praying about this, we're really feeling that it's not just revival for the lost, the people who don't know Jesus, it's revival in the church. And a massive part of that is the church coming together as one body. Jesus prayed, let them be one, so that they will know, the world will know that the Father loves them as he loved me. And I think ecumenical unity is really important. There are bits of the church which are dying, there are bits of the church which are struggling, and we need to come together.